Welcome back. You're still on to the Polity, reaching you live from Abuja. Like I said before the break, we will be delving now into the issues bordering on the state of the nation. I've been joined in the studio now by Mr. Olufowobi Desmond, who's a public affairs analyst, and he's here to do justice to a number of issues making the rounds today. Good afternoon, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, and it's a pleasure meeting you.
It's good to have you here. All right, let's start with a major story today making the rounds and causing a whole lot of controversy. Across the various national dailies, it says at least 80 persons were killed in the Kaduna village bombing. And I'll just reel out a particular number here. According to findings by the Punch, no fewer than 425 persons, including children and women, have been killed by military accidental bombings between September 2017 and 2023. What do you make of this scourge?
First of all, it is pathetic for the people who are saddled with the responsibility to protect the territory, and protect the innocent, being the one that is now ending the lives of people they are supposed to protect. It's so pathetic. For me, it is too expensive to consider such an action as error or mistakes. You see, we are talking about human lives, and I don't think it's just in one person's action to strike. It should be coordinated. There should be some people who should give direction after they are sure that they've seen their target. I also saw the news, and my heart bleeds for the souls of the innocent lives that were lost as a result of the incidents of our army claims that they mistakenly dropped a bomb, thinking that they are attacking terrorists. You cannot actually tell me that the settings look alike. Even if you're not seeing clearly, I don't want to delve too much into that, because of security reasons and safety reasons as well. But fact must be told.
But what do you think should be the response in terms of somebody being held accountable? The number of this has happened quite a number of times, and we never hear, well, this was the commanding officer, this was the person who fired the shot, and then we see what happens to them. It is all, always shrouded in some level of secrecy, so to speak. Would it make a difference if we start to see people getting punished for this?
It will change the whole thing. It will change the whole situation, not just in Kaduna. It will change this. Enough of accidental release of gunshots, enough of accidental cases of killings of innocent people, unprofessional killings of civilians. Somebody must be held responsible. Until we start getting that result, until we start getting such action from relevant government agencies, we wouldn't get anywhere. But for us to say we want to secure our society, we want to secure the country, we want people to have more confidence in our security apparatus, there has to be a level of discipline. There has to be a level of professionalism, and there has to be a level of punishment for anybody who is found wanting. And I'm very sure, and I'm very, very confident that if we have one or two people that can go in for this, it will take you a very long time to see such an occurrence of such situation again. But if you sweep it under the carpet as usual, like we always have in this part of the world, I'm not surprised to hear maybe tomorrow or next that we'll see such situation. This time around, it might not be in the northeast, it might be in the southwest. I'm not prophesizing, I pray this should never happen. But some people should be responsible for this serious crime against humanity and against the integrity of this country, Nigeria. Some people are responsible for this, and some people must be held responsible to pay. You understand?
Indeed. I believe it's the level of honor we ascribe to the military. Sometimes you might not even require the hierarchy for you to want to place yourself at the mercy of the people you've wronged. But that being said, there are people dead now.
Yeah.
They had families, they had friends,
Yeah.
they had ambitions, and so on.
Yeah.
What should be the process or the
Yeah.
way that they are treated or consoled at this
Yeah.
point by the government and others? Because if this happened elsewhere, we know that all it takes is for the right lawyer or the right human rights activist to take up this matter, and the government could be paying millions and billions in damages. But in Nigeria, we can't always depend on that. So, on their own, what do you think the government should be doing? Definitely, you can't bring back people who are dead, but what can they do to at least make life a little easier for these persons?
I think government needs to be a little bit responsible. Our government at this point in time needs to change their approach. The presidency of led by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu should prove to be different. And I know Mr. President is always very responsible and responsive, but I will urge them to do more. If this situation happened elsewhere in other claims like the US or the UK, you would have realized that it would have gained widespread attention from all and sundry and people showing mercy. You will find out that people will be traveling in from different parts of the states, different part of the country. Let me use country here so that people can understand. People will be coming from the southwest. You see people coming in from the southeast, south to pay condolence visit and also pay to come for solidarity in this Kaduna. But in this part of the world, people just take it as if we're talking about cow.
Yes,
as if we're talking
as if the value of life is
no, I'm not saying anything serious. See, there should be something like, if it were in UK, you will see people wearing band. You will just see it everywhere that the country is actually mourning. But it doesn't look like Nigeria is mourning.
Who would you ascribe this to? Do you think it's something that is a citizen
This is a national issue.
Well
This is a national issue.
Including
why the state government is going to host everybody that is coming in to pay their last respect or any kind of solidarity to the lives that were lost? I think it is the responsibility of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to set up inquiries, maybe a committee of inquiries, and also to do one or two things.
Right. Sorry, just to cut in there. Do you think perhaps the president and all involved should be responding more to this? I say this because just the other day, Nigerians suddenly sort of remembered that there were a number of youth corps who were corps members, who were kidnapped and have been in captivity to this day. And when you go on social media, you see people sharing their experiences being kidnapped in different places within Abuja here, the capital territory. So the question now is it enough for the president or the presidency to respond to every of these cases, to give that feeling that even one human life
matters?
Yes.
I will say this without fear or favor, that the president, being the leader, because everybody looks up to the president. Every governor looks up to the president, and whatever the president does is what others will emulate. I feel it is more responsible and it shows leadership when you find somebody at that level shows concerns about little things. You see, little things matters a lot. It was a wise man who said that the secret of greatness is not by doing great things, but by doing little things in a great way. A little word, a little step, a little action by the president will go. It will have a multiplying effect in all other areas of our lives. And that is the implication that the president and every other leaders are. I don't want to see that our government in this part of the world are government of show. And how do I put it? Like people that government that always respond to widespread complaint by the people. Government should be more responsible than waiting for people, uproars from people, from the social media before they take action. You see, any issue that is very serious and is not popular by the government, but is not popular in the society, you see that the government don't take action. And that is not where leadership comes in. Leadership comes in when you take action to those salient issues, those salient points. People will just realize naturally that this government is more responsible. This government is more reasonable than previous government. So I will just urge Mr. President And I will urge everybody in position of leadership, either in school, to pay attention to those small things that haven't gotten wide popularity and complaints.
Sure.
It is then that people will know that this person is different, and that is what leadership is all about. And that's why we are where we are today.
All right, it's fair enough. But one might wonder: do you suppose that perhaps some of the reasons this happens is because the presidency doesn't want to draw attention to what could be termed its failures? I say this because, as a journalist, I'll just let you in on some of the things that happens. We journalists are encouraged to, have strong mental capacity and generally take care of their mental health. The reason is because if I don't know about you, but you might hear of someone who says, I just want to be off social media now. I can't take anymore. Yeah. And because they've seen different news and but you see, when it's your job,
affecting their mental health.
Yes, but when it's your job, every day we have to open it and read into details what people are going through every day. So the point I'm making is, if I should use what I see on a daily basis, and I assume the presidency responded to all of them, it's quite a lot. So do you think that is maybe hoping that if we don't shine a light on the problem, it will disappear?
It doesn't. There is a proverb that cutting off the head is not the solution to headache. Now, I'm not blaming Mr. President for anything that is happening, and it's not even the fault. Mr. President is not a military man, and it's not the responsibility of Mr. President to command the armies to strike or not to strike. He is the grand commander that he charges the people in charge, the in charge to do this, to go in a certain direction.
The service chiefs.
Yes, he charges the service chief to go in a certain direction in providing security to the people and to the land. But he's not the one who commands at the war zone. So it's never the fault of Mr. President for any mistake that will happen. But that is not what we're talking about when we talk about leadership. And besides, why do we have SAs? Why do we have SSAs? Why do we have ministers? Why do we have commissioners? Why do we have hundreds of people who worked with Mr. President? It is just to make job easy for him. And when I say presidency, I'm not pointing directly at Mr. President. I only say that presidency, which is led by Mr. President, should be more concerned about those silent issues that hasn't gotten wide spread, that are not very popular. That is when people will know that this government is more responsive and responsible. It shows that this government has gone extra mile. If government comes out to talk about things that even you, the citizens, have not heard about, it shows that government is working beyond USA. That is my point.
Fair enough. So speaking about this, I think the security budget or the portion allotted to security is quite a number higher than education and others. So let's take that now. Let's do the discussion on the budget presented by President Bola Tinubu. What are your thoughts on it, and what are your expectations? What do you hope that we can glean or get from this new fiscal year?
First of all, I just hope that the government can cut down their expenses. With the current budgets, I know this budget does not really pay so much attention on capital infrastructure. Rather, this budget focuses more on cushioning the effect of the economic challenge that we are having presently. And this budget focuses more on human capital development, as well as developing some of our security. Mr. President has been going about for the past how many months now, wooing international investors to come into Nigeria to invest. And that wouldn't be easy without security. So that, to some extent, justifies the budget you have for allotted to security apparatus and architecture. But the fact remains that the budget is not enough. If Nigeria is actually going to solve the problems that we have, we should be looking at 50 trillion. Starting from 50 trillion, we are still trying to manage. You understand? This budget, about 70-something% goes back to recurrent expenditure. Only about 30% or thereabouts of our budget goes into capital expenditure. So you find out that the government is trying to even manage, the budget is trying to manage the responsibility of governments. Most of the budgets, most of the, the budget we have, Nigeria budget in the last 10 years focuses more on recurrent expenditure, trying to manage. You see people complain about jobs and all that and all that and all that, road and all these, military, school fees, school and all this. This has to do with recurrent expenditure. Has to do with recurrent expenditure. And that is one of the reasons why our economy is not at the level it should be. So the budget is fair enough. I think this year's budget, the next year budget is about 26 trillion. It's about 26 trillion, which is fair enough. But the problem we have is about sincerity. You know, there are certain things that I don't expect the budget to cater for. Like, for example, every year you're talking about renewing certain office equipment like laptops, things that should last you average maybe 5 years or 10 years. You find them, you see that they find their way back into the budget. Is not good enough. And those are some of the things we need to work on as a country. There are so many things that the government is not, that the people, even because it's not the president that writes the budgets, the government only submit the budget. These budgets are written by PAMSEC, by directors, based on the different ministries. And that's that when they take the budget to the National Assembly, the committee will now have to start interrogating the ministers and the PAMSEC and people who have put those budget together to defend what they put into the budget. You understand? You see that the government, the president only presents what has been brought to his table. So that's why it is we, me and you, that work as civil servants, ministries, agencies, MDAs, that needs to be more responsible to ensure that what we put into the budget as something that we really need. Those things that we don't need, we should take it off. But you find out that because people are naturally corrupt, and most Nigerians, you see that they are always looking for opportunity to eat and eat and eat and eat. You get to know this when you visit some ministries. You find out that there are certain money that is meant for certain responsibility that they will deliberately leave until maybe towards the end of the budget year. You now see them, they'll start giving those things out to themselves. What is meant to affect the environment or the people that works with them, they don't do it. They leave the money in the budget, and when the budget is about maybe ramping up, they will now see how they can share the money among themselves, giving out the money how to directors to do certain project. There will be a lot of corruption that happens, that goes in the ministries, at the agency, a lot of things. But this is not the right time to talk, and this is not the right place to talk if you want to correct certain situation or issues. This is not the right place. Rather write recommendation to the ministries. When you see something wrong, it's not good to bring it on air.
Why not?
It's not actually good to bring it on air.
It's part of
no. There are a lot of wrongdoings. There are a lot of things that we see at the ministries. A lot of bad elements, but it's not good enough, because everybody is a criminal unless the one that they've caught. In Nigeria, nobody is a saint. But the fact remains is that we should put the love of the country at heart. Even as a minister, as a civil servant, I can tell you that the kind of corruption that goes in ministry is more than what you see among governors. And imagine the level of corruption that we have seen around government, around governors, around chairmen, around senators. More happens in the ministry.
That is quite a tough one to swallow. But still speaking on the budget, and you mentioned that the government, when you started, that they should work on expenses and so on and so forth. Do you think this government has shown any sign that they are ready to do that? We've had multiple cases now. The National Assembly wanting to buy SUVs, bulletproof. But one in particular for Lagos State, where one of the items there was an SUV worth over 440 million naira for the office of the chief of staff. It was explained that it's just a car going into his pool of cars, not that it was specifically for him, for the office anyway. But what was interesting is when the government was responding to that, what they said was, this is in line with the current economic state of things. And one wonders if that's what the government thinks from their own perspective, that 440 million naira on an SUV is just the way things are these days. But the problem now is, government officials, including the president himself has come out to say that Nigerians have to sacrifice. He understands and that things must get a little bit worse before it gets better. The idea is that he's telling us, manage, cut your code according to your size, don't go extra. And then we see almost the opposite. Just the other day, we saw one of the opposition complaining about the plan to build a new residence for the vice president in Abuja here, even though he already has one, which has also undergone renovation and so on and so forth. So is the government showing any sign that they are going to, take their own advice, so to speak?
Well, I think you will continue to see more of such abnormal money being spent by people we elect and put in position of leadership if we don't talk. It is our responsibility to keep talking and guide them. They are not immune against such kind of luxury. Every human being, just like they are also human being, they would also, because they have access to this money, that urge to actually get the best in the market will always come. And that's why I said that we are not yet serious as a country. Most of the things that we see it all shows the level of our seriousness as a country. A serious government that is very much interested in the development of its people and its country wouldn't be spending so much money on mobility, on luxury, on comfort. You understand? There are so many things that needed attention. There are some things that government will do with just 1 million that will go a long way in making this country better. But because they have access to this money and these laws for worldly things and luxury will just set in, and you see government will start misbehaving for their self-aggrandizement. You want to buy a car of 400 and something million, you continue. Although it's not the fault. It's not their fault. It's because of they don't really have a vision. Most of them find themselves in that position without vision. Some of them are sponsored. Some of them are sponsored to be there. Some of them are there by mistake. Some of them have not actually had sleepless night thinking about this office I'm going to, this is the difference I want to make. No, some of them don't have that opportunity. They are just human beings. Some of them are lucky.
I just want to get your opinion on something. I've spoken with it's my job, so I've spoken with hundreds of politicians, and not mentioning any names, but when you hear them talk, they will say, while I'm campaigning, while I'm doing this, anywhere I go, people bill me. They say, what do you have for us? They say, and then some people say that if you want to be a governor, you're basically giving a budget. This is a word on the grapevine anyway. I'm not saying it's fact or anything. You're giving a budget, and you see something like 35 billion naira
to
become a governor. Yes, that is the money you spend on everything. And they say, well, with all of this, the cost of getting there, is it possible to reach there and have good intentions? I don't know what your take is on that ideology.
First of all, because I'm in Nigeria, I am also privy to know about what you're saying. That every office have its budget, from the councillor to chairman to House of Assembly to reps to Senate, depending or considering the environment where the person is coming from. It varies. There are some locality you go in Nigeria, and for you to become a rep, you might just need about maybe 200 million to 250 million to become a rep. There are some places you go, you have to spend times 3, like 700 million or 600 million budget to become. I was talking to one rep from Lagos, somewhere around Lagos West, and he told me that he has spent over 700 million. A first timer. He has spent about 600, close to 700 million to get there, and he's still in court. He said since his court case began, he has spent about 120 million. He's still spending money. So, such kind of person will not have good intention, to be told, and that is. But they are still the cause of their own problem. So I don't pity them.
How so? Yeah,
because if you see the kind of drama that is surrounding elections as if it requires a rocket science. You see, these things are created deliberately because they want to block some people. You understand? There are good people who have the intention to make Nigeria better that will never have the opportunity of getting there because they don't have the money. And it wasn't God who created such kind of anomalies around our electoral system. It is people that have this money that monetize our political system. Politics in Nigeria is too expensive. I know politics is expensive everywhere in the world, but Nigeria is becoming abnormal. How would a senator be spending billions to become a senator? So why are you spending such money? Because now you're not budgeting for campaign, you're budgeting for buying votes. Most of this money goes into vote buying and bribing INEC. Do you know that INEC collect bribes? Do you know that some politician will tell you that I gave INEC 200 million? I can say it anywhere, anytime.
But is there any evidence to that?
There is evidence. So let's just not go into that. Even the politicians cannot look into me. No politician, most of them gives money to INEC. They give money during the election, though INEC might just see it as a gift. They will receive it. Maybe that's how they will defend themselves. They will say, he just gave us a gift and we took it. That doesn't mean that we should alter or cause problem within the system that will do our job, but you just give us money. Just like some people will give police money. You understand? They give INEC money and wholesome amount of money to get some certain information from INEC, like data registration, data of people, all sorts of things. A lot of things happen. I'm happy to tell you that I'm a young person and I have informations because I'm on the field. I'm a young politician. I love politics. So I learn about politics from people. And some of the people who thought of this politics, we see what they are doing, even if they don't tell us.
Well, it would be good on the program to always bring
No, it's not good. It's not good. If it is in court, I'll bring evidence. It hasn't gotten to that level. And everybody knows. Is there any politician who doesn't give money to boys? You give money to area boys. You give money to... The money, most of the things that eat the money is not for good cause. Are you with me? Most of the money politicians spend are for bad cause, like giving money to people to attack innocent people, giving money to area boys, giving money to agberos, giving money to people, giving money to market women to vote, buying their vote and all that. That's what eats the money. If we were to be for campaign, I would not spend more than 50 million to become a rep.
Even 50 million?
After buying my form, after getting my form, I won't spend more than that because I need to print polos, I need to budget for branding, campaigns, and the rest of them. But talking about 600 million, what are you doing with the money? To bribe people, bribe. What you are not supposed to get, you buy. Even do you know when they started buying people from the party? They will give party chairman money. You are not qualified to be a rep, but by the time you give party chairman 100 million, the good people it will say, go and queue. It's not yet your turn. That's the popular saying, lotto. But they will say lotto. Somebody that have been there, somebody who have been with them, somebody who understands, somebody who just come in from Atlanta, Georgia, somebody who just come from UK because he has done some deals which I don't know. He brought the money, a lot of money. You find the person becoming a rep, a senator, because he bought his way in. So they are like I said earlier, I don't pity them. They created those problems for themselves, so they shouldn't complain. But I just want to say this, for prosperity's sake, if you have been elected, whether by hook or crook, you get in there, you should know that you have responsibility to a lot of people. And some of this good gesture towards the people will create a good society, and then you'll be secured. You don't have to complain again that we are spending so much money on security. The level of insecurity in Nigeria right now is the reason why you keep having so much money being budgeted to safeguard lives and properties. All
right, you make a fair point there. At the end of the day, they are responsible to the electorate. But the Electoral Act, the amended Electoral Act, was expected to kind of constrict the amount of maneuverings that politicians can make. But it seems as though politicians are also very crafty and
they are very smart.
Yes. Do you think there are any more amendments that could be made to get more?
Yeah, it's very simple.
Results?
It's very simple. Even the government knows that the best way out of this problem is complete electronic process, technology-driven election. We should limit the use of humans in our election. We should use more because humans are corrupt and a lot of people are hungry. Do you know that politicians budget for INEC? They budget for the people who carry out, who participate, the corpers who conduct the election, they call them some names.
Principal officers?
Yes, not principal, ad hoc staffs, and they budget for them, they budget for party agents, they budget for people they will buy. So, because there is a widespread hunger, when you bring money, people might think twice and change their good intention and say, after all, who go win, and they will just look away. What they do mostly is not that they look away instead of to correct certain things. There are things you do, even as ad hoc staff, as a young person, as an NYSC core member that is delegated to oversee or supervise election. There are little things you do that goes a long way. For example, please, Oga, imagine when somebody says, Oga, please, I will report you. Stop canvassing. You know, some people canvass in the polling units during election. Oga, please vote here or vote there. Put your vote here. They allow them. So what they do you know why they pay them? They pay them to look away. So somebody will be there with a big chest, or somebody there with every bag in his hand, or you take money, and they will look away. They will not complain. And when they don't complain, police is not expected to be very close, about 100 meters away. You understand? Or 50 meters away. So when the ad hoc staffs are not complaining, you find out that at the end of the day, they will have the opportunity, they will have a lot of time to carry out a lot of buying of votes and doing all that. They had liberty, let me use that word, they had liberty to do whatsoever they want to do, and all those kind of things, they are still part of things that I feel like I consider as rigging of election. Rigging of election is not until when you change results. So that's why if we have technology, for example, I have my ATM card. I walk into, imagine my money is more valuable than anything, than the ballot paper. Let me just say, than the ballot paper. Although the ballot paper is more important in the long run because it will determine the policy that will guide my life and determine the kind of life I'm going to live. But in the interim, that cash I have in my ATM, in my account, I think is more precious, and is more precious to everybody. Imagine me having a seamless exercise. Going to ATM, I put in my ATM card, I put in my PIN, I get the money I want, I go, nobody harass me, nobody is cheating me, I'm not cheating them, they are not cheating me. At the end of the day, I get the data of how much I've spent, how much I've withdrawn so far. They take their charges, I get my remaining account balance. So imagine if we have a system that can allow us vote, and I'm very sure, and I know, that government also know that the best way to eliminate, or if it's not possible to eliminate corruption completely in electoral system, at least it will reduce to a minimum barriers level. People with integrity, people with good intentions would have the opportunity to be there. Not having people that do not even have any iota of interest in the development of their community, just because they have money bags, they have the money to shady deals. Some of them are drug barons. Some of them are Yahoo boys, Yahoo politicians. We now have a lot of Yahoo politicians. If you are not a Yahoo politician, how will you be spending about 500 million to buy a car? It's Yahoo. Imagine, do you know that this tablet, some of these gadgets that we buy, normally you go to, why is government buying things 2 times 3 of how much I will buy? I'll buy a biro for 15 naira, 100 naira. Government is buying biro for 1,000 naira. So just come and tell me, what is making government pay more? If it's not for corruption, and it's happening. It happens in Nassau. Present in that budget is happening. In National Assembly is happening. In State Assembly is happening. Everywhere, everybody wants to take money from the national cake. Everybody, even from the local chairman. How in my house I can get an average AC for 250,000? How would government be buying AC for almost 1 point something million? Go and check some of the procurements. So those are the things that government should tell us that they are serious. Government should tell us that they are reasonable. Government should tell us that they are ready. So for me, I don't see that government is 100% ready. But with the body language I've seen, because every time I listen to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's always drawing the ears of his ministers. He's always threatening them that if you don't perform, you're going. So let's see what will happen going forward from January 2024 and December 2024. With the warnings that have been coming from Mr. President, and from some of the things, I've interrogated some ministers, and I've listened to some of the ministers when they are interviewed in their press conference, that the Mr. President has given a marching order to deliver government of what? Renewed hope to the Nigerian people. So let's see what 2027 renewable budget holds for Nigeria, with the warnings that Mr. President has given to some of the appointed ministers and some of the elected officers that actually want the best for Mr. President. So I just believe that maybe Nigeria we can start getting it right. But before now, till now, I'm not seeing too many difference. But going forward, let's say from 2027 to 2020, January 2024 and December 2024, maybe we'll have effect of the renewed hope government, and maybe by that time we will now have government that is serious to deliver the dividend of democracy to the good people of Nigeria.
Indeed, indeed. Spoken well. I just read a headline from the BBC yesterday. President Samia Suluhu Hassan is returning to Tanzania as soon as possible to deal with the floods and landslides that killed at least 50 people over the weekend. She was at COP28.
Yeah.
And she's running
That's
back
what we're
home.
talking about, leadership.
Yes, she's running back home for less than 50 people.
Yes.
We have 80 people killed in Nigeria. But anyway, let's talk about COP28. Let's talk about COP28 now. You've spoken about expenditure already. So I want us to, we can also talk about that, but also taking a look at what the purpose of COP28 is, because I think it has kind of taken a backseat to this conversation. The government has said now, initially it was over 1,000 persons that was on the list, but the government has said that they only take responsibility for 422. I just read an analysis here by CGID and program director. It says the average cost for an individual to attend COP is about $4,000. And with 422 people, that's $1.7 million. That's how much is being expended. If we are to completely believe the figures we are getting. So that's for when it comes to the amount. I'd like to get your thoughts on the necessity even for Nigeria to be a part of this. Because a lot of people argue that even though climate change is a very serious affair, but when it comes to third world countries, it shouldn't take the forefront, or not so much as to require so much attention. What's your take on that? Do you think climate change is something that even us as a third world country, developing country, should be very concerned about?
Well, I believe Tanzania, like you said, Ghana, Ethiopia, and about 6 different countries have high number of people who attended COPs. A lot of people attended. It's not just Nigeria that has that number of delegates that attended. Now, on the importance of COP, I think it is some months ago, we're talking about green economy. We're talking about green skills and the rest of them. There have been advocacy, trying to call young people to look away. So government taking a lot of people to COP28, I believe the reason is just because maybe, it's a conference. And conference is a place where you acquire first-hand knowledge about the future, that helps you to shape your future. You understand? So maybe because of the seriousness of the government to actually take center stage in the climate change. You understand? And it is not easy for you to direct people who don't tap into the vision. Maybe the reason why the government took number of ministries, from Ministry of Environment, Ministry of this and that and that and that, to COPs, is to have a first-hand information, knowledge, and there's it's not just about the conference. Going to such an event, there's going to be exchanges. There's going to be networking. Maybe the government just feel like, let me expose my people to international opportunities, so everybody can just pick opportunities that is, it's not just Nigeria that's coming there. So there's going to be a lot of, I know this government has invested so much on it, on these COPs. So it's now for us to now see in the next 2-3 years, what are the things we benefited? Because you cannot see the gain of that movement now. It is later that you begin to see the benefit of such a trip. But I know international exposure, linkages, networking is going to go on there, and it will have a multiplying effect on our economy. And as well, when people that are to be in the bureaucracy, in the ministries, people that are government, that move the engine room of the government, have first-hand knowledge about the future of our climate, you see their actions will be guided towards achieving a better climate. So I don't think it's a waste of our time, considering the importance of climate in the world today. Not just whether it's a first country, second country, or third world countries. No, it is important.
All right, fair enough. Well, and they're there already. Is to see what comes of it. But going forward, are there other sectors that you believe perhaps should be getting even more attention? I recall there was talks around when the supplementary budget was proposed or released, and there was no budget, no allocation for health and other such. But it's always usually said that health gets a lot of foreign help, foreign aid here and there. Do you think that's enough to, sort of cushion the effect? And also, really, in this climb, what are the expectations? The key sectors that we should expect more from. We even have new sectors these days, with blue economy. Yeah, blue economy,
and even Ministry of Solid Minerals and the rest of them. But I think the education, our education sector, education is the bedrock of every successful country and society. I think government should declare a state of emergency in our education sector. Our education sector needs a total overhaul, because the reason why we don't have a creative and productive young people, you can link it back to our education, the quality of education based on our curriculum and our education environment, education environment. I think government needs to look more into our education. So if I'm to make case for any sector, it has to be for the education. And the kind of education that we're giving to people, like for me, I want to start a campaign that is a skill for all Nigerians. Every Nigerian must have a skill. If you don't have a skill, you should not be admitted into university, or you should not be given NYSC certificate.
What counts as a skill?
Yes, everything that you can do that can add value to the economy, that does not require any support from anybody, like maybe government engaging you before you can engage yourself. You can solve problems maybe in terms of green scale. You can solve problems. You can create something, artificial intelligence, creative economy, intelligence and all that. There are a lot of skills. If you go to tradition, we have traditional and contemporaries. We have skills like all these plumbing. All these are skills. Electrical is a skill. Videography, video, all these things. People need to, now we are going into a global village, and you see that artificial intelligence is taking the center stage now. Young people should have skills on how to, create some graphics, that they can start making money. How to shoot videos is a skill. How to edit sound, how to edit video. All these are skills that can put good money in your pocket. How to create emoji and all those things. These are applications, how to develop applications. Imagine Uber. Imagine Facebook. The budget of a Facebook, or let me say, what they make at the end of the year is bigger than our budget. Bigger than many countries in Africa. Just a Facebook that does not have any major responsibility. Just an application. Look at Uber. The budget of Uber is at about 300 something billion, as at 2022. You understand? Look at such a budget, billions of dollars from application, and all this has to go back to our education. Our education should focus on developing skills, and young people should have skills. You must have a skill. You must have something you can do with your hand, your head, and solve problems and make money. So if by that time you see that our economy would actually receive a boost, because until every Nigerian learn how to make dollar, until every Nigerian can make money outside the shores of Nigeria, before our economy can be better. Most of Nigerians are only thinking about how to make money from government, how to get a job, how to make money from the street. No, you can actually be creative in your house and be delivering services for people across the globe. And these are some of the things that the education will do for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Desmond. That's a great way to end the program there with something for the young ones out there to munch on. Thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, that's how we end the program for today. Don't forget, the Polity reaches you live from Abuja every weekday, 2 p.m., 3:30 p.m. Join us once again tomorrow for more analysis and also that delving into the fine line of politics, governance, and the state of the nation. Have a nice day. Bye for now. I am Amadine Ogbewe.